to be speaking about a beef that took place between a Bonnano member and myself. His name is Sandro Aiosa. And Sandro, at one time, used to be a captain for that family. He was knocked down at this time, so he was a soldier. He mentions a lot of names that he shouldn't have mentioned. He mentioned a lot of friends of mine that were members of that life, what their position was and whatnot. He just asked a lot of things he shouldn't have asked for my last name and all of that. Sandro should have reached out himself, but he sent this guy in to get information. I knew what I was going to do. I knew Sandro had a club in Ozone Park. And there's a bunch of guys standing outside. I walk into the cafe and I'm looking around. I don't see Sandro, but there's a girl behind the counter. So I says, is Sandro here? She says, no, he's not here. I said, okay. I said, I want you to do me a favor. And I opened up the paper. It was a big piece of paper. Have my name, last name, telephone number. I said, I want you to give this to Sandro and tell him this is the information that he wanted and that John Panisi came himself to give it to him. Sal Lombardo at this time was a newly inducted member to the Gambinos, and he happened to be sitting in the pizzeria restaurant with me that day. And who walks in? Joe, the pizza guy, Sandro's guy. So as soon as I see him, I jump up. Come here, I want to go talk to you a minute. Come in the back. And Sal Lombardo comes with me. And I was already telling Sal, this guy needs to get cracked in the face. You're going to hit him too, because he mentioned guys in your Bagada. We get this guy in the back. Right away, he starts pleading his case. So I said, listen, you're going to get your chance to talk. First, you're going to listen. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer me. I want you to answer me truthfully. And I start going through the list. Did you say this? Did you say that? Did you say this? And he's saying, he's admitted, yes, I said that. Yes, I said that. I said, let me ask you something. Who sent you here? Well, you know, my friend. I said, your friend? You mentioned a lot of names that you just admitted to. Now you don't want to mention your friend's name. Your friend too. Who sent you here? Well, you know, my friend. I says, I'm asking you for the last time. Who sent you? Sandro. Okay, I want to clarify that he sent you here. That's why you came to have this conversation with John, right? Yep. When I get to myself, he didn't want to admit that he questioned John about me and my last name. Please, he says, you know, I just lost my wife. Now, this is true. I was always very respectful when his wife was in place. I send my condolences when his wife passed. However, that has nothing to do with why we were standing there. So I said to him, listen, my heart goes out to you. May she rest in peace, your wife. But I got to ask you a question. You're now stating that you lost your wife because you're in a predicament right now. But let's not forget, when you came here, your wife had passed already, right? So you wasn't in mourning for your wife to come over here and start getting involved in our business about certain guys and certain names you shouldn't have mentioned. And most of all, my name. Did you come here and you mentioned my name? He wouldn't answer me. I wind up hitting this guy, Joe. He started screaming and everything else. Sal gave him a little slap. I think he was very light on him. So I said to him, Sandro sent you here? He was holding his face. Go back and tell Sandro that was my message back to him for sending you here. They reach out with Mikey Padavona. Mikey Padavona was an acting captain now for Ronnie G. So he reaches out to me and asks me if I could come down to the boatyard. You know, he had the boatyard. That's where they hung out. He says, just do me a favor, John. I don't want to give the guy wrong in front of you. He says, I know he's wrong. I heard the story, what happened. He says, and the guy deserved it. But let me walk away after I introduce you, because I didn't meet Sandro as a friend. Car comes pulling up. He gets out. Michael does the introduction. And Michael says, hey, I got something to do. I got to go talk to somebody. So that's his exit. So he don't have to be there. So he says to me, he had a broken English. He says, you know, I feel like you were smacking me in the face. I said, really? Why would you feel that way? And he goes into telling me, obviously, what happened, that I smacked his guy and it's disrespectful. I says, well, let me ask you a question. This guy, this Joe, do you know that he went to John DiLorenzo and he said this, and that, you know, and I explain everything. He's just looking at me. I says, but what's worse about all of that, Sandro, is he said you sent them. And he's also questioning a guy about a friend in this life, myself. And he mentioned other friends in this life and who's straightened out, who's not. I says, but he said that you sent them. I know send them. He can't say he sent them. He can never admit to that. And I know that. I said, really? So you didn't send them? I know send them. He lied and said that you sent them because I questioned him. And he admitted and said Sandro sent them. And now you're telling me that he's lying, that you never sent them? I no send them. I said, so instead of feeling like I smacked you in the face, you should be thanking me because I smacked him in the face for you because he disrespected you too.